Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us is Abraham Thomas. He's the Chief Data Officer at Quandl, a Nasdaq company, to discuss how alternative data is being used by both sophisticated quant investors as well as fundamental discretionary investors to get insights into what's happening macroeconomically in the current environment. Abraham, welcome. It's great to have you back on Trade Talks with me. And I bet you're putting together some really interesting data sets in the COVID-19 economy. Tell us about Quandl and what it was like to pivot to create this kind of content.
Absolutely, Jill. It's a pleasure to be talking with you again. So Quandl is a data company, and we're in the business of going out and looking for interesting and obscure and untapped data sets that tell us about the world economy, about the performance of individual companies or sectors or countries or what have you. So this allows investors and analysts and indeed anybody to gain a deeper insight than merely what's presented in quarterly financial statements or monthly economic statistics. And it's that kind of data has become incredibly valuable right now just because of the speed with which the situation is evolving. I mean, if you think about it, 2 months ago, the market was at an all-time high. 1 month ago, we were down 35%. Today, we're up 35% from those lows. These swings are incredibly rapid, and so having real-time, accurate information about what's going on the ground is just tremendously valuable. You can't afford to wait 3 months to know what's going on. You kind of have to measure and track economic events and indeed health and human impacts on a real-time basis if you want to be on top of what's going on.
Let's take a look at a couple of the data sets with the industries that are most widely impacted. Our first one here is auto sales.
Yeah, so auto sales are a really good indicator of the state of the economy because on the one hand, they are essential. Everybody needs to drive to get to work, to go about their daily business, to get to school or what have you. But they also represent aspirational spending and luxury spend. Luxury vehicles are a sign of consumption. And so they tend to be quite significant indicators of how the economy is doing and how confident people are feeling. But they're also an essential part and a huge part of the U.S. economy. So we've been looking at data from insurance policy sales to get a sense of daily new car sales, because of course, when you buy a new car, you also have to buy insurance. And so we're tracking that number on a daily basis. And it'll come as no surprise that auto sales fell off a cliff in March. They dropped by something like 60% between the beginning of the month and the end of the month. But we're beginning to see some light on the horizon. In the first few weeks of April, sales have started picking up just a little bit. I mean, they're still down a lot compared to this time last year, but it does feel like the worst is behind us and people are very cautiously opening up their wallets just a little bit.
Let's move along to air travel, and I think this is one industry that's going to face the larger challenges, not even just air travel, but the travel industry in general. Does the data show any sign of a rebound yet?
Not really, but it depends on where and how you look. So you're absolutely correct that the entire travel and tourism and hospitality industry is going to be impacted, not just in the short term, but potentially for a long time to come. And of course, people have stopped buying tickets and stopped traveling. They've also stopped searching for tickets online using online travel agencies. And for us, that's a really interesting indicator of what the future holds, because when people's confidence starts to return and when they start scheduling vacation and business travel again, even before they actually get on the plane, they will be searching for it. And so we're watching that pretty closely. Actual passenger counts and searches for most airlines have dropped around 90%, anywhere between 80 and 100% in some cases. But one interesting trend that we're actually seeing in a few countries in Europe and in Asia is that people are very, very slowly looking at flights again. They're not buying them yet. They're not getting on the planes yet, but they're at least searching for flight tickets online for travel, maybe in June or July, or maybe it's in August and September. So it's still a few months out. but at least they're thinking about it as opposed to just canceling all travel plans.
And our last category here, corporate hiring, as Americans look to get back to work and get this economy going again.
Yeah, so that's an area where there's been a lot of pain. I mean, unemployment claims have been at unprecedented levels, and a lot of large companies are definitely, well, there've been layoffs in a number of sectors, but a lot of large companies are also slowing down or freezing their hiring. And we do notice a bit of a dichotomy there in that certain industries and sectors like retail and groceries are hiring quite aggressively because people are stocking up on food, people aren't going to restaurants, people are staying at home, and they need their daily groceries. So firms in those sectors are hiring. On the other hand, some firms which are, I would say, in more discretionary sectors or where the spending is more luxury items, they're definitely cutting back and imposing hiring freezes. So, and corporate, hiring is very much a reflection of expectation of future demand. So when a corporate thinks that, or when a company thinks that their sales are going to be good in the future, they hire in anticipation of that. And so again, this becomes quite an interesting leading indicator, which we'll be watching to see if people are going to start hiring, because when companies are confident, that's when they start hiring.
All right, and Andrew, to wrap up here, how do you get insights, Quandl insights, into your inbox?
It's really simple. Go to newsletter.quandl.com. That's QUANDL, and sign up for a free newsletter where we'll send you a number of graphs and commentary on unusual and underappreciated data stories about the economy on a regular basis. And it's completely free, and it's at newsletter.quandl.com.
All right, great. Just signed up for mine. Thank you for joining us as always.
Thank you, Jill. Take care.
And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.